For Thanksgiving, we had a conversation in Robyn's backyard where it became apparent to me, at least, that I was going to need to do a separate.
What if the one person you trusted most, the one who gazed into your eyes and vowed a lifetime, slowly, deliberately became the reason? You no longer recognized yourself. You ever find yourself glancing back over a period of your life and saying, how? Did I not notice it earlier? Perhaps it was discreet, a shrug rather than support, a cold silence, rather than reassurance, the nagging feeling in your stomach that something, someone just wasn't what they once were. That's the room Christine was in, not all at once, but over the years, moments here and there that wore down her happiness. She invested the best of herself, her time, her youth, her trust, and what did she receive? Excuses, blame, and the quiet shame of being made to feel less. This isn't merely a tale of marriage or divorce or reality television. It's about what occurs when a woman finally realizes the reality behind the smile and decides to choose herself, perhaps for the very first time. And Kody, he never saw it coming. That's the thing with men like him. They believe loyalty means staying quiet, that love is measured in sacrifice, that you'll never have the courage to walk away. But Christine did, and now all these years later, he's still talking, still spinning the tale, still trying to convince the world that she was the problem, that he was the one who lost everything. But what he's not really saying aloud, he didn't lose a wife, he lost the illusion of being in charge, and that hurts worse than sadness. Now we're watching the unraveling, not of a marriage, but of a man who never thought he'd be replaced, who thought his title, husband, father, leader, was enough to keep the spotlight on him forever. But when the cameras zoomed in this time, they didn't find a strong patriarch. They found a man grappling with a wreckage of his own making. There's something poignant about watching somebody work so hard to reinvent the past. Do you ever know anybody like that, who lies not only to everyone else, but to themselves? To watch Kody rationalize the hurt, the deceit, the years of emotional distance, it's like watching someone sift through ashes and tell you it's still a flame. And then there's Robyn, always soft-spoken, always poised, but listen closely and you'll hear the cracks, the selective memory, the backhanded comments, the insistence that her way was the right way. It's not just denial. It's something more insidious, a refusal to own any part of the damage. You ever wonder why some people need to be seen as victims even when they're not? What strikes me most isn't the drama, it's the silences. The moments where no one says what we're all thinking. The way the show dances around the hard truths, afraid to say them out loud, but we're going to say them here, because if you ever have to bear the emotional burden in a relationship, if you ever get to see someone deflect blame rather than own up, if you ever learn the hard way that love shouldn't make you feel tiny, this tale is going to feel excruciatingly familiar. So go ahead and pour your coffee, sit down, because what happened in those last episodes wasn't just the demise of a program, it was the reckoning of a lifetime, and it's time we discuss it. Here's what no one is saying about Kody's latest confession and why it is so much more awkward than it is honest. Were you shocked by his tale of what happened in the past? Because I was like, wow, okay, and then what? Janelle couldn't help herself. She just laughed and laughed. It was that full belly kind of laugh right after hearing Kody's latest saga. He said Robyn made him feel comfortable enough to confess he had been with another woman prior to marriage, but he just could not confess that to his other wives. And Janelle's response was priceless. Robyn knew about it the first month we met, she said. Let me get this straight. You could not tell your wife, who was also your best friend, but you felt good telling the whole world that already thinks less of you. What is even the point here then? When Suki attempted to get down to this subject and told them they had crossed a line, Kody got angry, which is crazy because he is the one who started it. He began this whole debacle, so why lose it when someone else responds? He complains about needing respect for his boundaries and feelings and emotions, but always somehow manages to turn himself into the victim. Classic Kody, always switching the script every time he claims to be offering a little. His demeanor abruptly changes, and then the backlash is hard, nearly as hard as Kody himself attempts to be. Well, if I were marrying someone like Kody right now, it would be a whole Other story that was Janelle with a biting but very calm comment. She said if she had dated Kody for a year, like Robyn had, then she probably would have left. That was a straight shot, and it hit her mark with laughter here the whole time. She was on fire. She said, I just don't like them, and if I had courted Kody for a year, I would not have married him. She gives these zings so calmly, but they hurt. You can feel it, Kody mentioned. He had a previous experience in college that contradicted what he felt both religiously and on a personal level. They were discussing being intimate prior to marriage, attempting to portray it as some sort of emotional awakening, but really it just sounded like Kody wanted attention, like he wanted people to lean in and say, "Are you okay? What happened?" Truth is, he was visibly trying to get at Janelle. He knows that she does not need to be buddy-buddy with him or Robyn. She is so over it, and she tells him so in no uncertain terms, and you know what, it is kind of refreshing. She is not faking being friends. She is just finished. I recall contributing too. She said, I contributed my share with the cooking. Then the subject turned back to Robyn and her lies or forgetfulness. Whatever you may choose to call it, appalling, but somehow not astonishing. She cannot recollect the entire camping experience, or perhaps it is the campsite makeup thing. Either it never occurred, or perhaps she forgot. How convenient. But the issue is, we viewed the clip, we saw her makeup right in front of the tent. Does she not get it? We all saw that the producers ought to have cut to that scene immediately after her denial. That would have been the best thing. But no, Robyn just keeps repeating that she does not remember and no one questions her. And that is so frustrating. Let them say whatever they want, then display the truth. That is what people are waiting for, but it does not happen. Robyn's memory is only selective. When it suits her, she dismisses questions and acts as if everyone else is being too much of a drama or unfair. This isn't memory loss. This is a strategy, plain and simple. There is really video of Mary and Robyn applying their makeup.
I'm not going to try and fix it with Janelle anymore. She's done with me.
But she told you she's done?
Yes.
Like those words?
While keeping everyone else afloat, you can see how frustrated Hunter was, and Robyn states the one time they went on a camping trip, she was 6 months pregnant and vomiting all night. So she couldn't assist with her memory just when it is convenient. Why isn't anybody calling her out on this? Why don't roll the footage of Kody judging everybody else long before they ever said anything about him? The show continues to circumvent genuine accountability, and it has been going on for a very long time. Robyn has been bending the truth for years now. Remember that Christmas caramel thing? Kody asked the wives to attempt to make his mom's recipe, so Robyn accused Christina cheating because she had practiced the recipe in advance. But here's the twist. Robyn and Mary went out, purchased caramels, and just rewrapped them to appear homemade, but somehow was the one called a cheater. It is ridiculous. Robyn lies in almost every scene, forgets anything that makes her look guilty, and somehow escapes punishment every time, and the reason is always the same. Oh, I just do not remember. And now, Kody, well, he just threw under the bus his own kids. He flat out said he would never do polygamy again, and not one time did he even mention his children. The only positive to come from that life, 13 kids and not a single. One of them receives a shout out when he rewrites his history. It is really disappointing. He is always talking about how people are treating him wrong, but he is the one shattering hearts again and again. In part 4, Kody reached a new low. He began by griping about the intimacy aspects, then moved right into one of his typical blow-ups. No shock there, but the one thing that stood out was when he was questioned whether he would do it all over again, and he said no, and then added something to the effect of they're just beautiful people. He was referring to his wives, not the children, not one reference to them. Look, it is okay to say you would not live that way again. Absolutely fair, but to leave the children out, to pretend like they were never included in the experience, it is just tragic. His kids are the one thing everybody agrees are good, and he left them out entirely. He claims he listened to Christine and Janelle tear him apart a great deal of the time, and sure, some things may have been hard to listen to, but wasn't it deserved? Kody hardly speaks of his children unless they are singing his praises to the heavens. In his reality, Loyalty is writing yes to all, and if you don't do that, you're non-existent. And here is a thought, just a theory, but when Christine walked out, Kody probably believed the kids would go all cut off. Like in some fundamental church environment, perhaps that is what took place. When Christine's mother split, and he expected it to happen again, but it did not, and that is when Robyn comes in whispering all the right things. It's telling him about how dedicated her kids are, and all at once it is like a pissing contest for attention. He believes Christine turned the children against him, but that is not true. He is angry at the older children for not running to his side. How dare they take their mom's side after all they lived through, Kody states. He is certain that they did not display their marriage issues to the children in Las Vegas, but Christine recalls it very differently, and quite honestly, it is difficult to believe anything Kody says at this point. He alters his tale to whatever makes him sound good for the time being, and the reality is, I do not believe he forgets the children. I believe he simply does not consider them whatsoever. His entire world starts and ends with himself. This whole season has been hard to sit through, but part 4 was particularly difficult. Every other second is just another tale about how much Kody loved Robyn, and seriously, who even cared? That is not the issue. The issue is that Kody believes everything is all about him, because that is just how he lives. He explained that it was a love affair from the very start, but how is he not hearing the contradiction in what he himself is saying? He says love in polygamy ensures failure, and immediately after that he boasts about how much he fell for Robyn. Well, if he himself is the one who fell in love, then perhaps he himself is the reason it failed. He speaks as if he owns up, but where has he ever demonstrated that he never takes responsibility? 3 marriages are over, and none of them is ever his fault. Most people do not even think about polygamy unless they grew up in it. Like Kody, he is such a textbook case of someone who is unable to look beyond himself. What we are witnessing here is not growth or heartbreak. We are observing a man losing his grip. His ego is disintegrating. His wives are gone. His kids don't respect him, and that's what is actually destroying him. Not love, not regret, but the loss of authority. He must have thought Christine would be alone, but she did the opposite. She moved on, fell in love with someone real, and in a hurry that shocked him because it indicated that he was no longer the center of her universe. He was expendable. Kody is spinning now, not getting better, not improving, just flailing because confronting reality would be looking inward, and Kody Brown is not capable of that. Now let's discuss actual loyalty and affirm the kind that materializes when someone has been manipulated for years. David is a great example. The instant Suki asks, "Is that normal?" he jumps in immediately and says, no, he is playing them against one another, and he is not merely giving his opinion, he is standing wholeheartedly behind Christine.
I don't want to carry anything that could bring up painful memories with Kody.
You can tell he wants to assure her this was not her fault, that Kody actually did twist things, and the manner in which David speaks. It is like it punches you. You see the concern he has for her, the gentle way in which he is stating, I see you, I believe you, and what was done to you was not okay. Christine bore so much guilt following that breakdown, and even when one has been manipulated, it is still difficult to put aside the guilt. When Christine laughs at Kody, referring to her as the less loved wife, you see David's response. His eyes tell you everything. He is upset not with her, but with the fact that she was led to believe it. And worse, with the fact that she now just treats it as if nothing happened. That right there is what a real partner is, one who fights for you, even after the harm is done. Kody never defended Christine like that in almost 2 decades, and now she has someone who does, and it makes all the difference. He owes me an apology, and yet here we are listening to things like, "You're welcome back to the church, but you can't bring 3 of your wives with you. How is that okay?" From the start, Kody controlled Christine. Remember that dress moment? Ken telling her to let go of the other wives, that wasn't support, that was control. What's crazy is how Kody struts around with this sky-high self-confidence in spite of how badly he treated the original wives. He doesn't seem to be ashamed or regretful, not even a little. Instead, he behaves like he didn't do anything wrong, even to the point of complaining. They're owing his kids money when he hasn't financially assisted any household other than Robyn's in more than a decade now, David. He's the real deal. The sort of man who tells the truth, works a proper job, and doesn't look to reality TV for validation. And earnings the original wives should have long since left. They deserved so much better than what Kody provided, and to see Christine with David. Now it just makes the difference crystal clear. David's harsh reality about Kody had to sting Kody. Can't abide criticism, particularly from other men, and David is the type of man. Kody wants to be tall, confident, humble, and actually nice. Robyn, on the other hand, she is probably seething because Christine now has someone who is treating her nicer than Kody ever did Robyn, and that throws Robyn's entire perception of being special off kilter. Robyn has to feel better. That's part of her whole deal. But she's just not. And here's the thing nobody's quite saying out loud. Robyn's entire concept of wife versus man drama is not what she wants you to think it is when she said men will fight with a woman like she's a man. She fights like a man. My eyes nearly rolled out of my head. She wants to be perceived as the ultimate example of how to deal with conflict, as if she's superior to the rest. Truth is, it's draining to see Robyn reap all the rewards. The original wives created those women, were tough, independent, they had children, and supported the family. They earned money and brought stability. And what does Robyn do? Float in after the difficult part and play the helpless princess she boasts about. The way she treats Kody differently, like that makes her unique, while bashing the others for just standing up to themselves. And let's be real, only Robyn would call the latter fighting like a man and then proudly exclaim, "I manipulate too. Get what I want," rather than arguing. Translation: she likes to do things underhanded, then pretend to be all innocent about it. She pretty much said, "I just taught Kody to death. I make sure he is staying there and hearing me," but we've seen her on camera. She is not powerless. She is not this dainty woman. She wants to be noticed. She knows exactly what she's doing, and she does it with intent. And glance at Christine. She did everything she could to get Kody to speak reasonably, to sort out their issues in a manner Robyn would accept, and it all made no difference because Kody simply didn't care. It was never about the manner in which they argued or spoke. It was always about who Kody was prepared to listen to, and for whatever reason, Robyn has forever been the exception. Robyn might have yelled or remained quiet. It doesn't matter, because Kody is only submissive when it's her, when he says, "Who put your sword down where you know I'm your wife?" And this is not an area to draw your sword out. That ain't love or respect. That's performance and control disguised as intimacy. And what was with the entire sword metaphor? Because when does conflict ever have a gender? Robyn pretending to know how the original wives fought is ridiculous. She wasn't present for most of it, and all she knows is what Kody shared with her. And perhaps what she witnessed on camera, and even that they hardly ever fought at all. If anything, those women were too reserved, fearful to speak up for themselves. They tiptoed around while Kody would stomp around playing the victim. Robyn enjoys gaslighting individuals into treating her as if she is beyond criticism, like her case is special and more worthy of empathy. But this only demonstrates how frequently she gets herself involved in other people's fights based on secondhand gossip, or by simply dropping by uninvited. It's a habit, and it's classic Robyn behavior. She uses helplessness as a weapon and stirs the pot in the background. Now let's discuss Kody trash-talking Christine relentlessly, and why that is such a huge red flag. Because it's not about reality, it's about ego and projection. Christine lives rent-free in his mind. No woman has had a greater influence on his public persona than her, and her departure destroyed the perfect storyline. He was working to uphold. The more he speaks about her, the clearer it is that he hasn't moved on. He's fixated on the fact that she walked out first, that she'd found someone better, and that she's happier without him. It's not love, it's dented pride, and Christine's happiness is a reminder of his failure. Every day, see how differently he speaks of Mary. Mary was simpler to throw away. And since she never upset the boat the way Christine did, he is kinder to her. Not Because he admires her, but because she doesn't threaten his pride the way Christine does, he can't bear that. Christine's leaving caused a chain reaction, Janelle aligning herself with her children staying away.
Something that has bothered me about Sister Wives this season is that Maddie is being targeted by Kody as some sort of shit stirrer family relationship.
And the whole family unit breaking down, and he accuses her of it all, claiming she turned the children against him when, in fact, they observed his actions and drew their own conclusions. He claims he can't forgive Christine for turning the kids against him, but the fact is, he's just angry. They were able to see through him. It's not love, it's control. And when he spouts things like, Christine said he didn't even kiss her, it's obvious he's trying to embarrass her in public to regain the power. But it just indicates how petty and bitter he is deep inside. Kody feels he stooped to be with her. Now that she dumped him first, he feels disrespected, insulted, and vulnerable. And what is fascinating is that Janelle, departing, most likely affected him as badly, if not worse, because he genuinely enjoyed her company more than the rest, and her departure took away the final amount of control he still had over the original family dynamic. All total mean girl energy. That entire my space, my house moment wasn't just embarrassing, it was telling. Robyn's laugh wasn't innocent, it was possessive. It's like she's actively rubbing it in everyone's face that she won. Kody, despite what she actually got, was a broken, delusional man consumed by a need to control. Let's get real. Christine sacrificed the best years of her life to Kody. She raised children, established a home, was peacekeeper, all with being belittled and disrespected. She centered her whole identity around him, and he couldn't even muster up the fake effort to care. She was never stood up for, never valued, and when she finally reached her breaking point and left, he collapsed because it never was about love. It was about owning. Kody's dramatic meltdown when Christine had left wasn't in the name of heartache, it was in the name of losing control. That's what narcissists do. They can't even conceive of someone walking away from them, much less someone they've spent years degrading. And now, rather than looking in the mirror and taking a good hard look, Kody's whirling fantasies concerning how she turned the kids against him, he still can't bring himself to believe that perhaps the kids looked at who he is and made their own choices. It's easier to blame Christine than to admit that he's been a bad husband, a bad father, and a bad man. He's got a fortune, a large house, and an image he clings to desperately, but he's hollow, a man of emptiness who constructed a life on falsehood and pride, and it is now collapsing around him. And for real, let's discuss the reunion specials for Hours of Lost. Potential 4 episodes in which the producers could have demanded real questions, called out Kody and Robyn, allowed Janelle to tell her truth, and all we got were fluff, pretend tears, and Kody's hideous metaphorical rose garden of trust. Robyn's selective amnesia is an insult to the audience too. Makeup on camping trips on camera, personality test on camera. But she doesn't remember, sure, but she can recite word for word the lightning bolt moment. That was really Christine's tale. That's not forgetting, that's manipulation. And then the kiss between Christine and Davida, sweet brief moment, made awkward by the editing and Kody's impending bitterness. But you know, when it was honest, it was true, and more emotionally honest than anything Kody's uttered in years. So when Robyn sits there, hair swirling and laughing, acting dumb and rewriting history, just remember, it's not innocence, it's intentional. This is a woman who's been let get away with it for years, and she isn't getting away with it anymore. Because here's the thing, Christine walked away and emerged victorious. Janelle stood up and held firm. Mary woke up at last, and Kody and Robyn there still, stuck in the fantasy they've created, alone, bitter, holding on to a reality nobody else is buying into. And the biggest tell of all, she's not only lying, she's rehearsing the lie as she's telling it. Look at her eyes, the wheels are turning, the acting is happening. It's not merely Robyn being Kai, it's Robyn gaming in real time. Let's be honest. This isn't Sister Wives anymore, it's the Kody and Robyn show, and we're all just unwilling extras. Kody spent the entire all gushing over Robyn like a teenager getting misty-eyed at her name, but when the topic of his own kids came up, zero emotion. Nothing, not a flicker of paternal instinct that says everything. And did anyone notice that really cringeworthy moment at the end, the producers? Totally cut Robyn out of the goodbyes at the end. No question Suki wished every single cast member thanks for sitting down. Best wishes. Except Robyn. I even rewound to make sure nothing, sure perhaps it was cut for time, or perhaps they knew she didn't say anything worth thanking her for, because let's be real, Robyn delivered nothing in 4 episodes. No epiphanies. No truthling, no accountability, only vague deflections, perpetual gaslighting, and 1,000 iterations of, I don't know, honestly. Suki could have said, thanks for sharing absolutely nothing, Robyn, because that's all we got for episodes of empty chairs, evaded questions, and emotional manipulation, all packaged in Robyn's hurt victim stick. Oh, and while we're at it, did anyone catch that Robyn wasn't even asked the cute little "what movie is your life?" question? Yeah, someone surely set down ground rules regarding what she would or wouldn't be asked. Must be great, okay? Having production jumping through hoops to safeguard your delicate storyline. So here we are, Kody's still bawling over Robyn. Robyn still redefining history, and the rest they've progressed, thriving, healing, living, while Kody and Robyn hold on to a falling fantasy by now. If you need drama, just check the hashtags "It's more real than the show ever will be again." Thanks for nothing, Robyn, and to the rest of you. Bye-bye. Have a nice day, guys. Videolytics.